the other risk that the TV show or movie has, which is they don't give any of the viewers the payoff quick enough.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
that's the thing. If you're not at least giving the audience something for their time that they're investing, even if it's only like 20 minutes into the movie, like you really, because even now, you used to have a little bit more of an attention span, but now people's attention spans are even shorter. So
Hmm.
you have to really grab people right away. And if you don't, if it's, unless, as I said, unless the writing and the acting and the idea of the show is so interesting that people are willing to go, you're giving me very little, but I'm on board for this. And
Yeah.
I want to know, you're giving me just enough that I'm willing to come around and watch for another couple of episodes. But I do find that that's kind of what I was talking about. Some shows, because other shows, we're in the golden age of TV shows, they say right now, which is that there's so much great content out
So
there
much. Hmm.
that people can, it's just, almost an embarrassment of riches, right? Where you
Yeah.
are, um, you can't even watch all the great shows that are out there. You can only pick and choose. So now when you have an average, like a show that's not horrible, but it's okay, and it's not, it really stands out as not being that they're,
Hmm.
like, cause you're like, but I can be watching this show that everybody's raving about. Why should I watch this show that is just kind of not very good at all? Right.
Yeah. Well, and I think too the difference is as well, before you were captive audience, right? This was what was on Thursday night at 7, and you wanted to watch something, so you watched it. Whether it was the best show or not, that was when you were sitting down to watch something and you had 3 options and you picked one. Now there there is no programming for you, right? Like you can choose anything at any time on any streamer and watch it. And so the mediocre ones don't get kind of shoved along in the same way because people just don't choose to watch them. Where before they watched them because what other option was there? And there's still some that seem to be created with that mindset of like, well, someone will watch it. And it's getting harder to be that kind of middle of the pile. Like I've watched many shows where I've made it 2 episodes and I'm like, I'm no, I've given this more than enough time and it's just not working for me and I'll find something else as opposed to sticking it out because nothing else is on, so I'll watch it.
Yeah. Well, that's what I find too. Like even some really good shows, if it doesn't hook me
Hmm.
within that first episode, if I can't get that through that first episode, I have a really hard time wanting to commit anymore. And I know
Yeah.
there's been people that I can't remember the show off the tip of my tongue, but there's been shows where I've like been told these are, oh, I know. It's, I'll think of the title. I remember what it is, but I can't remember the title. There was a show that was like considered one of the greatest sci-fi shows in the
Mm.
last decade, that
Yeah.
everybody's like it's like it was a 2 season long show, and it was considered like a masterpiece,
Hmm.
and everybody who watched it was like, this is like the best thing ever. And so I'm like, okay, it's only 10 years old at this point. It shouldn't feel too dated. And I started watching it, and I was like, oh, I've seen this show already. Like I've seen this kind of show.
Yeah.
Um,
Feels familiar.
and,
Yeah.
and, and so as I'm watching more and more of it, I'm going, oh, okay, well, like, if this is what this show is, then, like there's already been like more modern shows with that bigger budgets that have been done now
Yeah.
that are kind of like this, and it's not really hooking me. And so I only watched the one episode, and I don't even know if I finished it. And here's the thing, like maybe the payoff would have been, by episode 3, but because I've seen all those other shows that they've done, I just wasn't willing to put that time and
Yeah.
effort into it. And so, um, that's unfortunately, like, I think what is going on now. There are just so many things out there that you can
Yeah.
watch that,
Well, and sometimes too, like, you'll be like, "Oh, I wanna watch this show," and it just came out or whatever, and you'll find out that it already hasn't been renewed for season 2. And
oh
then in
yeah,
my mind, I'm like, "You know what? Then I'm probably not gonna bother," because it's only those, 7, 8 episodes because seasons are so short now. It's that only that. There's not gonna be any more. Why do I wanna get invested into this? especially if it was meant to be like, a limited series and it was only ever going to be 8 episodes and they're going to wrap everything up, that you're like, okay, fine, I'll give it a go. But I'm like, I don't want to watch something that I'm into it. There's a cliffhanger and I know that there's no hope of it ever coming back again. I won't even bother. I'll just be like,
Yeah.
well, I'm sure it was good, but you've already told me don't waste your time on it. And that's unfortunate, but that's just, like you said, there's so much out there that I'm not going to invest the effort into something that could just leave me hanging and never pay off.
Yeah, that's the Burrows. They just
Yeah, that
Netflix.
was exactly what I was thinking of. I watched
Yeah.
episode 1 and I liked it, and then they canceled it. And I'm like, you know what? I'm not, I'm not going to continue because I know that it's not going to pay off to anything. So
I mean, I was okay. It was okay. I didn't mind it. I had a really, actually, I started watching it and then I was like, oh, okay. This is very much like Cocoon meets like,
mm,
uh, Stranger Things and,
yeah,
like, so I was just like,
it was
uh,
familiar for sure.
yeah, very familiar. I like the actors, but it wasn't completely hooking me. And so it took me a while to finish it. So I was like, I'm okay that they're not going to finish this show because,
Yeah,
it
I
wasn't
only watched
really,
episode 1.
yeah, it was okay. It was okay. Like
Yeah.
I couldn't say that it was like anything where I'd be like, oh, I would finish that show if I were you. That was really, it was excellent.
Yeah.
But
Well, but there's some shows that they do that too that you're bummed about too, right? Like I remember, I don't know if you ever watched the Santa Clarita Diet. Did
yeah,
you watch that one? That
great.
was one where I was like, you're gonna leave it there? Like, come on.
Yeah.
That one was one that I was bummed out that they didn't continue. And I mean, their reason for continuing things and not continuing things is always debatable. But every once in a while, there's one that you're like, ugh, now I'm kind of annoyed. I invested all this time watching this just for you to end on a cliffhanger and never finish the thread. Even if you only gave me like 2 episodes just to wrap up this whole story after 3 seasons, would have been nice. But it's hard to devote your time now to stuff.
Mhm. Um, yeah, that's, I think the one that I think of is one of the most famous ones is Firefly. It's
Yeah.
a show that was on, almost, like over 20 years ago now.
Yeah.
That's still, it's the lore behind it. I mean, they've created comics around it and
And there's still talk that it's coming back and yeah.
I think they're doing an animated thing with it now. I think that's the thing that they're the big reveal of what
Yeah.
they're doing.
Because
But
that's
anyway,
definitely one that still people are mad about the fact that it didn't go.
yeah. Well, and that's just it. And sometimes some shows do need that time to develop.
Mhm.
The funny thing is I haven't gone back to watch it in years, so I don't know if it holds up. I don't know if I would feel the same way about it when like if I'd be like, oh, you know what? Um, we've already had this show on
Mhm.
another capacity, and therefore I don't need to see this anymore. Or if I'd be like, it still holds up. There's
Still
something
miss it.
about it
Yeah.
that I would love to know what happened to these characters and it's a shame that they never finished. Uh,
Well, one of my favorite examples of that is Futurama, right? Like
right.
that one died how many times and got resurrected. And then it's like it got brought back for like a couple of movies and then it was gone. And then it got another 2 seasons, then it was gone. And then it's back and it's currently back again. And like that's one that has just had so many lives and just keeps because the fans just kept screaming
Yeah.
about it to the point that they just kept bringing it back and then it would go and then they would bring it back. So people do have a lot of power, right? If they're annoyed enough about something, now more than ever, you can make sure people know about that.
Yeah. Well, there's also, and this is, a really hard thing to do, I think, but there are some shows that because they're based off of like pop culture and current events and the
Mm-hmm.
formula for the show very much dictates that. And
Yeah.
that's the interesting part. And the characters are just kind of almost like peripheral. So what I think of like Law and Order, the Law and Order shows, the reason why they've been around for decades now is because yes, there have been some really cool characters and obviously the characters that are on the show, you like them, you want them to be part of it, but also because they introduce some really cool, like because it's ripped from the headlines, it's literally like
Yeah, it's current.
the subtitle of the show. Uh, because of that, you are always going to have some really kind of fun, like, oh, I wonder how this character, the trial and the rest of this like all that stuff. But like, I wonder how closely it's going to hew to what really happened. And, um, and I think Futurama is kind of one of those shows too. Like,
Hmm.
same thing with Simpsons. Like, they're both very connected, or South Park or Family Guy, because all they're doing is really commenting on pop culture, and the characters themselves, I don't know if they've evolved too much, right? They're all kind of the same
Yeah,
from when they started. Maybe there's a bit of like
very
character
minor.
development, but it's
Yeah.
very, yeah, it's mainly like introducing like some new um something that's current, but they're, it's taking place in the future. So it's the same reason why, like, I think some of the Star Trek shows,
Hmm.
the more the like the Next Generation, those types of shows were really cool because they were commenting on society. And
Yes.
some of the newer Star Trek shows where they're more about like an overarching storyline,
Yes.
they don't always work as well. And that's always um that's why, like, doing, I guess, relating this back to doing a comic book, sometimes it's better to think of like, how can I tell short stories or be part of an anthology where you can tell a story in a very finite way.
Yeah.
Whereas if you have like an ongoing, you have to be really, it's going to be hard because you have to try to remember why you started the thing. And so if you come up with a formula for a long ongoing, like,
Hmm.
this is like what happens to the character with each issue. Like, they get into trouble, then they have to figure their way out of trouble. That's the formula, and
Yep.
each issue is like that. Maybe you have a couple of like a bit of an arc, but then you go
Yeah.
back, you make sure you have that formula where you're like, um
Well, that's it. And I think a lot of the successful long running, series, whether it be a comic book, a TV show, whatever that is, have that sort of formula that really, really works, right? And they repeat it in different ways. But you kind of know what to expect. And like, Star Trek is an example where the older shows did have a bit more of, that formula where you kind of knew what to expect. Whereas now they've sort of switched and they're very much this like, big arching, like crazy effects, like huge story versus like the self-contained episodes that had like, real people problems that were reflected in, alien cultures, all these kinds of things. And that's always a tough thing to change, right? And
yeah.
is your audience going to move with you in that change? Or are you looking to build a new audience? And it's, Star Wars had similar issues, right? Where they sort of changed how it worked. And the original audience was like, wait, this isn't what it's supposed to be. And it's always that battle of, do you keep up with the trends of storytelling or do you stick to the core that's always served you? And like a Futurama for 25 years has basically stuck to the core of how they tell a story and hasn't really changed other than the subject matter tends to reflect what's currently happening. But the storytelling, the characters, the way they do things is essentially unchanged.
Yeah. Um, I was going to say something about Christian County.
Oh, yeah.
So we have our Sarah and I have a comic book called Christian County. It's all the things that lost in their couch come
Mhm.
to life, and that kind of reminds me of like a Futurama type thing, because the
Yeah.
current story we have is gonna when it ends, I think then I'm not sure we're gonna like build the characters too much. We just may have like a new fun story
Problem of
where,
the week. Yeah.
yeah, kind of and there may be, we haven't talked about like whether it's going to be like you have to read the story in a certain order, or is it like, doesn't, if you've established a certain amount of characters, all you're doing is just like, yeah, it's problem of the week. So it's the same. They're not really evolving too much.
No.
They're just
It's
going,
like you thought they learned a lesson, but next episode or the next edition, they're back to the same hijinks that got them in the problem in the first place, right? Like a SpongeBob, where no matter what, if you could pick up a SpongeBob episode at any point, and it's the same kind of characters running into the same dilemmas, and that's where you get those kind of evergreen brands from, right? Where it's like you can kind of pluck these characters and put them in any situation, and they're going to act how they're going to act, and it's going to be fun, it's going to be funny, it's going to be hijinks, versus something where there's a lot of like emotional growth and evolution, because that's again that different type of storytelling, and both work, and they serve different audiences and work in different ways.
Yeah, exactly. Just going back to what I'm drawing here.
Mm.
So I'm drawing this, it's an overhead shot. I've talked about it before. If you're going to do a scene where you have like like multiple pages in a space, doing a drawing of like what it looks like overhead is a great way for you to get a sense of like making sure you get like the size of everything correct, like making sure the space itself feels like it's like something isn't like super large when the apartment shouldn't be that big, right? Stuff like that. So it just so happens in this case we've got we're actually using a panel that does that. But one of the things that I'm thinking about as I'm drawing this is I'm also thinking about like, okay, so now we've got like details like there's going to be outlets for electricity. Where are they located? And then like where are they? I probably will still adjust it a little bit, but right now, like where is the wall outlet, like the light switch, and is it going to be like if the person is walking and if they're an adult, you want to make it so that it's at a certain level. So I have to like make sure, okay, then the doorknobs are going to be similarly at the same height, because that's where you would imagine somebody who's an adult trying to open the door.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be all the way up there, right? So all of that stuff. And then I have to make sure in other panels, like where the doorknob is located is the same. So, this is your opportunity to kind of think about being consistent with details, to think about like little things like, okay, where is the trim? Like, is there trim? Would it exist? What about the tile? Is there tile on the floor here? And then is there carpet or is this wood for the rest? Like, I'm not sure actually. Like, looking down, I'm imagining because there wouldn't be carpet in the kitchen, so
No.
it would be tile of some sort, and it could be like that dirty square tile that you would see.
That
That's
80s
just
tile.
yeah,
Yeah.
laminate, but then around it, I guess, is all carpet, right? Or
Yeah. I would think it would probably be carpet, because I feel like that, and even what's on the walls, right? Is there wallpaper? Is it painted? Like, yeah, those are things that you have to think about at this stage that we didn't have to think about earlier.
yeah. So does this feel right? Like, would this? I'm wondering if you'd have the tile going a little bit further, um, and then like you'd have like some little trim
Yeah,
guard here that would then allow you to all of a sudden merge into carpet. Does that feel right?
that does feel right. Yeah. It feels like that little teeny tiny kitchen in the side of it.
And then you've got like I was thinking right here on the very like right near the sink, you've got the would be like some kind of heating system. It would be I'm not making it super old. I'm making it where it's like the actual heating system is inside a box, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah, yeah.
you can see that being like, and maybe there'd be like a pipe or something that goes into the wall from where it is. You've got the pantry here where you have those folding doors.
Yep.
I added another door here because I'm like, oh, there would be like some kind of closet for
Yes.
stuff, right? Then you've got a light switch for the room. There's a couple of plugs that I threw in here. Maybe one right here where the against one far part of the wall where the doorway is to enter the place, you would have another outlet because that's where the TV is going to be, right?
Yep.
So these are all things that you have to think about this kind of stuff.